on. Oh. Here we are.
Hey everybody, my name is Jason Andrees, and thank you so much for being here for our virtual first Wednesday for the month of August. It is a pleasure to have you join us. We're sorry that you're not joining us and walking through the door, and we're being able to enjoy a first Wednesday like we had hoped when we originally scheduled the exhibition. But as you are surely aware by now, the COVID numbers in our area and really across the country are not where anybody would like to see them. And so, unfortunately, we had to make the difficult decision to move our first Wednesdays back to virtual until the numbers come back down and get to a point where we can feel safe about having you back in the gallery and having large gatherings like a first Wednesday. So thank you for understanding, but thank you for joining us tonight for our virtual first Wednesday. We have 4 artists who will be showing with us all this month, 3 of which are here with us on the feed. We'll introduce you to each of them. We'll also hear a little bit from the other artists as well. But thank you again. We are thrilled to start off the night with debut exhibitions from Anita Cook and Kohout, as well as exhibitions from Thomas Neff and Ha-Yeon Nam, 4 incredible Louisiana-based artists who are artist members here at Baton Rouge Gallery. And their work will be on display through the 26th. So we'll show off their work for you tonight, give you a taste of what awaits you, and invite you to come and join us at the gallery. As always, we are open to the public 6 days a week, free of charge, from noon to 6 every day but Monday. So please come and see us sometime soon. This is some incredible work that you really need to see in person to really appreciate. Before we go any further, though, I want to say thank you to all of our members, all of our donors. Obviously, this has been a strange and unpredictable time that we are navigating and continue to navigate. And that is only possible because of the community support that we have from our members and our donors. So thank you. If you're not already a member and you're interested in becoming one, you can go to batonrougegallery.org/join to become a member. There are both annual memberships and monthly memberships. It's a great way to support local art, local artists, as well as a venue that has been supporting local artists for more than 50 years. 2021 is actually Baton Rouge Gallery's 55th year as a part of the cultural community of Baton Rouge. So thank you again to all of our members and all of our donors, and here with a special thank you to our members. If you would please welcome Francesca Vega, our development director.
Hi, thanks again to everyone for joining us this evening. As a thanks to everybody who signed up as a member, we're doing monthly drawings. So this month we're bringing back the masks, and the winners are Greg LaCour. He received a Randall Henry mask. And Eleanor Cannon, she is receiving a James Burke mask. And these are still available on our website for anybody wanting to purchase one. As Jason said, if you're interested in becoming a member, you can by going to batonrougegallery.org/join or just giving us a call. So thanks again to everyone.
All right, congrats to the members who won masks, and as Francesca said, they are still available on our website, batonrougegallery.org/BRG-masks, if you're interested in getting your own mask. So thank you again to everybody for joining us. A quick update on some in-person programming that we had planned. Unfortunately, the Articulate Artist Talk that was scheduled for Sunday has been canceled. We will actually be closed all day on Sunday. Because of the COVID restrictions and COVID situation. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're being safe for all of you, for our artists, for our staff members. So we will not have Articulate on Sunday, but we do have some great content coming up soon where you'll get to learn a little bit more about the artists, about their work through some videos that take you actually inside their studio, as well as hearing from them tonight. So why don't we go ahead and shift right into that, and we'll hear from our first artist tonight, Anita Cook, and we'll round this corner and start off with Anita's work in her debut exhibition with the gallery. Hi, Anita, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, hello.
Thanks so much for being here. I know these are weird circumstances, but we
I know.
Working with us to let people know a little bit more about your work.
Thank you, and I'm so excited to be part of the Baton Rouge Gallery. And I just want to thank you all, you and Kelsey and Jonathan and Cheska for all that you do and for having to constantly be making adjustments because of the COVID-19 landscape. So I do wish everyone, like you said, I wish everyone was able to be here in person. But I just want to thank everyone who's tuned in to Facebook land and YouTube land to come and see the work that's up for the month of August. So I'm thrilled to be here and so grateful for everyone who's tuned in and to the gallery for all the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you, Anita. It's a pleasure to have you as part of this exhibition, and it's a pleasure to have you as part of the gallery. We've been looking forward to having your work on the walls, and now seeing it here in the gallery, it's easy to see why, especially given the scale and the detail within these works. I hope everybody gets the chance to come by and see the show before the 26th. But in the meantime, if you would just kind of talk us through, as we kind of make our way through the gallery, if you can walk us through a bit of your process,
Sure.
inspirations behind these pieces, and we'll just kind of turn the mic over to you.
Okay, I'll do my best. So the name of the show, as you said before, is called Edgeworks, and so the title is really just a reflection of the process that was used for all of the works in the show. Usually for two-dimensional work, a painter will, paint a canvas, and the face of that canvas will face the viewer. What I have done here is I paint large canvases, and sometimes those canvases are solid color, both front and back. I paint both the front and back because you can see the sides, even though the edge is facing the front, you can see the sides of the canvas. So sometimes those canvases are painted in solid colors, and sometimes they're more painterly. So what I end up doing is I paint the canvases, and then I either cut the canvases into strips. And the works that are in this show, the width of the canvases are pretty consistent. They're about 3/4 of an inch wide to maybe an inch wide. And so then what I do is I take those strips and I sew them into certain patterns. So sometimes at the sewing machine, I'll take the strip and I'll sew like a seam, and other times I'll make a loop and sew that down. And my process is that I try to kind of bring into play a built-in idea of order and chaos, or haphazard versus planned. And a lot of that is accomplished simply by the way that I'm sewing these strips together. Sometimes I can be very rigid in the way I sew them together, and sometimes very random. And sometimes I sew knots onto the edges. And so when I'm putting these together onto the backing or into the frame, where specifically certain colors might line up, or where the threads from sewing the seams line up, is kind of random. And so I really like working with that juxtaposition of randomness and the planned. So there seem to be, so I produce these parts in multiples. So what I do with these strips is I'll spend, like on the piece that Jason is showing right now, this piece is called Cosmic Gears and Pathways. And for this piece took about 9 months to create. And I spent most of that 9 months at the sewing machine creating parts. And so when I built up the number of parts that I think I might need for a piece, then I'm ready to kind of start composing it onto my backing. So, so these pieces are, you know, I'll start arranging the strips and composing the piece. And when I'm satisfied, eventually, then what I do is I actually use duct tape to tape it all together, flip it over, and put the glue on the back of the sewn pieces and on the panel that I'm going to place it on. And those panels are wood panels, you know, and I usually make some kind of frame. So that's kind of part of my process. And I guess that there are some certain themes that go through some of this work. And as you mentioned, inspiration, I would say that half of my inspiration is based on pieces that I've made before, because I kind of consider myself to be a process artist. And so one thing kind of leads to another. So I'm kind of half inspired just by what I've done before. And then the other part of my inspiration is based on things that I see out in the world. And all of this work is non-objective or non-representational. There are no actual pictures, you know, in the pieces. But one of the things that inspires me out in the world and that I find myself always going to is that my eyes always come to rest on things that are dense. You know, I really love looking at like piles and bundles of things out in the world. You know, in grocery stores, we have shelves and shelves of things. We have, you know, out on Earhart, there's a recycle place where all of this cardboard and stuff is made up into bundles. And when all of these pieces are, all of the parts are kind of tightly compacted into a space, making this kind of dense field. And I've asked myself before, what is it? You know, what is it that why am I attracted to this density? And I think it's because it's what I sense in looking at stuff like that, you know, like a big field of flowers, is the energy that has gone into creating that dense field. You know, I find it reflects the energy, you know, that everyone experiences out in the world. So I guess I'm inspired by density, and then other themes that kind of occur in my work have to do with layers and strata and core samples. Core samples, that's kind of a terminology based from geology. I like looking at what is on the inside of things. And when I first started sewing these parts, I had piled them up in front of the sewing machine, and it just reminded me of like a slice of something where you could see the inside. And so, you know, kind of see the cellular structure. So I'm inspired by that. And that happens when you look at like core samples of the earth, or you know, something in biology. And another thing is that I like creating sort of an ambiguity of scale, like on that cosmic gears and pathway piece that's down on the end. When I was making that piece, I was actually thinking of like the cosmos and how it works, and that maybe there's all these sort of gears and that are around universes that kind of work together and pull each other and affect each other in some way. But then I also realized that the piece has kind of a look of something that you might see under the microscope too. And so I really like that, setting up sort of an ambiguity of scale, that a little tiny knot that maybe I sewed on the edge of one of those strips. That could be like a whole universe, or it could be, you know, an atom or something. So those are some of the things that I think about, you know, when I'm working.
Anita, hi. This is
Hi.
Kelsey. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We had a comment come up earlier. I didn't want to interrupt you, but someone had asked a practical question about your work.
Uh-huh.
What kind of paint are you using on the canvas?
Yes, I'm using acrylic paint.
And then I don't know how well this is coming across in the video, but there's a bunch of teeny tiny little knots and thread.
Right.
Is there, how much of this is, you know, hand, your poor fingertips?
Yeah, no, it's all on the machine. All sewn on the machine. I mean, as it is, some of these pieces take months because it's kind of like I'm doing piecework in a factory, you know, with making these piles of parts. And so if I actually hand sewed these, I would never finish anything probably. It already takes, you know, so long because it's pretty labor intensive. But in order to cover, like I'll paint a big piece of canvas, and most of these pieces actually I buy my canvas at Home Depot or Lowe's. Not that I'm advertising those stores on this, but I use drop cloth canvas because I don't really need the fine surface of painter's canvas for this.
Yeah. And I think the sort of weightiness of a practical use canvas actually really helps the surface of these.
Right. Yeah. And you know, I paint both sides too, so that some of that paint, I really make the paint pretty thin so that it'll soak through the canvas, and so that when you cut it, you'll be able to see the color on the edge. If I'm not satisfied with how much paint has soaked through, then I might roll up a strip and actually paint the edge of it. Like I actually have a sample here, like on this. See, this is a strip that's been rolled up and painted on the edge. And see, it's like this, about 3/4 of an inch wide. So I wasn't happy with how much paint had soaked through there, so I went ahead and rolled it up and painted the edge there. So it's acrylic paint, and I thin it out quite a lot so that I can get more coverage.
Awesome. Anita, thank you so much for walking everybody through these works. They are incredible. And I think, you know, again, the scale and the scale of the works and then the details within them are really something you have to see in person. So I really hope everybody gets a chance to stop by the gallery this month. Anything else that people should really know before coming to see the works in person?
I can't think of anything right now.
No problem.
But I hope some people do. If you're in New Orleans, now that I've driven to Baton Rouge several times, it's a very pleasant drive, and so it doesn't take that long to get there. It's about an hour and 15 minutes, so you can make it into a nice little day trip and an excursion. Maybe go out to lunch or something. So I hope people from the surrounding area will come to see the show, and not just mine, but everybody else's too. It's really wonderful. So I appreciate you all being here, and I hope you go see it in person.
Thanks, Anita.
Thank you.
All right, we'll transition to Audra Kohout's work. Her show is called Visitation. Again, this is her debut with the gallery as an artist member. We're thrilled to have her. She's actually shown her work here at the gallery before as part of our Surreal Salon exhibitions in the past, but this is her very first as an artist member. So we're thrilled to have her as part of the gallery and have her works here all this month. So we'll see if we can bring Audra in.
Am I on?
Yeah, yes, you are. Can you hear us?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in as I move Nats away. I'm first of all, Anita. I hope she's still on. I love her work. Is so incredible, intricate. She knows this already. It's a totally different side of my brain that I wish I could tap into. So there's kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? That's where you come in, Jason.
Oh.
I'm kidding. So with this show, with Visitation, my whole idea, I wasn't able to create a whole new show. I'm already working on a whole new show, and I like that the BRG, Baton Rouge Gala, gave me the opportunity to show some works from 2003 to the present. And that's why I'm calling it Visitation, because I'm revisiting these pieces. And I'm revisiting them together, in a different sense, which is interesting for me. Originally, I thought I would go in and separate them by, years of work, a progression, and then decided just to do it and let these guys, just be together and do their thing. And I could not be more thankful to be a part of this, gallery, number one. You guys have been so gracious and kind and understanding. Anyway.
So can we maybe, because there's a lot of work and it's all very narrative, can I ask you maybe a specific set of questions about the work that I'm zoomed in on over here?
Okay.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No, sure, please.
Yeah. All right. So, in this show, there are quite a few pieces that are built like this one here, like a deep shadow box.
Yes.
And their titles kind of imply a narrative. Could you tell me a little bit about this piece here?
Well, that's actually one of a piece that I've had for a while. I'm going to try to guess the date right now, which that was the invitation piece, which I still have. In particular, that I never have a really, idea when I start to, create work. It just happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have an exact narrative, like an idea, until it comes into play. And so this one, oh my gosh, this one's from 2003, I think, 2006. It was one of my invitation pieces. I thought it was really beautiful. It's a little scary to people, I think.
I think it's the doll parts, maybe.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. All stuff. Get over the clown stuff. No, I think most of my work is a very psychological trip down memory lane. And so this show encompasses a lot of memories of things in my childhood and the way that I express or get those things out of me, which revisiting these pieces together, it means a lot to me. Because the next show is called At Rest, that I'm going to be debuting in New Orleans. And at rest doesn't mean when we normally hear at rest, it means that we're dying or we're dead, we're gone. We're in the ground, that's it. We're at rest, we're at peace. So these are sort of encompassing like it's the prelude to what's coming, which is putting these things to bed, like putting this stuff at rest, like it's done. Move forward, move on.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even know how to. And this, no, not that guy.
You don't want to talk about this guy? All right.
Here, I love him.
So this piece here,
that's a more recent piece. I was kind of exploring the idea of the sarcophagus and Egyptian, I hate when I stumble. The royalty, like she's Sleeping Beauty, but
Right.
is, in a sarcophagus. You can see her if you peel back the layer of the cloth, and she's got these, guardians that are walking her through, and I think that is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Egyptians do it. It just resonates with me.
Yeah. You must be really, really expert at antique shopping.
I don't know. My friend Evan always tells me, "Where are you? Let me guess. You're either at the thrift shop, on eBay, or in the bric-a-brac, or at Home Depot."
That's so funny.
It's true, though. I mean, I've been a collector for a long time. I kind of consider that part of the process for me. And one thing, I could be on eBay and I'll see like an image of something or this piece of something, and I'm like, well, that's perfect for this. It just pops into the equation, and that's the way I work.
All right, hang on. We're going to take a look over here real quick.
Oh God, I brought way too much work.
The show is amazing.
Thank you, Kelsey. You have been a doll.
So it's actually a little bit of a challenge for the audience because of the glass.
Yeah.
These are really something that you really need to come and see in person. So I really want to encourage those that are watching to please, please, please make it out here if you can. We are open Tuesday through Sunday. So that's every day but Monday. And then we're here from noon until 6 p.m. And there is no admission to the gallery. Please just come on by.
Thank you, Kelsey.
We just asked that everybody wear a mask.
You guys are all just phenomenal. You really are.
Yeah.
And thank you for the opportunity.
Of course, of course. Well, Audra, is there anything that you'd like the audience to know that we haven't already touched on?
Well, right now it's kind of emotional, so I think we should fade out.
Okay.
No,
Sounds great.
thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
I'm not good at hiding stuff.
No, this is great. This is wonderful. All right. Well, I'm going to continue to just scan this wall here, and we'll let Audra have a good night. Yeah, these pieces are really, really, really incredible.
It's kind of fun to look at these pieces and think about where different parts came from. Where did this one element within the shadow box originate from? What was its original purpose? Those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
You end up kind of being able to put together your own story or narrative in some instances. So
Yeah, you really do.
there's a lot in here.
Yep. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. We're going to take us into the hallway to see the artwork of Thomas Neff. I'm going to say hi to everybody. I'm going to talk about Thomas's work tonight. So his show is titled Comparative Landscapes, and the goal here was to review almost a retrospective of the landscape photography he's done in the past over 50 years, 53 years, I believe. And he's paced out the show to compare and contrast pairs of pieces. So every two pieces are meant to be seen kind of together and compared. So, for example, these two works here, we're looking at the combination of ancient ruins versus, so this is like the man-made, as it ages, versus a more contemporary look of man-made structures, but with, sort of primitive tools. But this is a more contemporary view. This was from 1991. And this structure here, that in the first picture, was from, let's see, about AD 1230. So big span of time we're looking at here, and he's pointing out the very human need to build, to create. These two pieces here, we're looking at the different ways people interact with their waterways. So this one here being from Louisiana in the mid-'80s. This one here being from Italy in the early '90s. And just the way that humanity interacts with the environment and the water was really important here. Thomas Neff shoots in black and white selenium toned photography. These are all done in the dark room, so they're shot with film. And with these next 4 works, these are all done from a very high vantage point so that you can look down into the space that kind of swoops down like this away from the viewer. And these 2 works here are all about the pathway. These 2 here are also kind of about the pathway, but they're more about the steps leading down into a space. Also shot from that very, very high vantage point. And I'm going to keep saying this, but this is all really lovely work to come see in person. These next 2 works are shot from a low vantage point, kind of looking up, again with that sort of swooping space. Over here we have a comparison of sort of the man-made pyramid versus the more naturally formed pyramid. So these rocks back here were poured, so it is kind of man-made, but it's a natural form of a pyramid shape versus this very rigid kind of brick pyramid amongst all the nature. This is a scene out of Italy. And then these 2 pieces in the corner, they're paired together because of this rock, big, heavy surface that just takes over the entire picture plane. And then we've got one more wall in the back over here. So these next 2 images, we are comparing both pathways and bridges. So this one here on the right is from Japan. You can see a little structure up through the trees. And then over here on the left, we have a scene from Colorado, herding sheep across a bridge. My favorite part about this one is these little sheep right here. Like, what are they doing? Like meandering into the water. All right, and this last 2, these 2 have this sort of mysterious space. So in this one, you have this space under the tree in the roots that gets very dark and very interesting. And you have this tiny little figure here just staring into that tree structure, very meditative. And then this last piece here, you have this pathway leading you down into this very, mysterious cavernous space and sort of the nature taking over all of these dark spaces.
Thank you, Kelsey, for walking us through Thomas Neff's work. It's been a pleasure to have Thomas with the gallery for a number of years. I know he's been incredibly influential across the Baton Rouge area, but in particular the photography community. So it's a pleasure to have his work with us. Again, the show is open through the 26th. You can actually see all of these works on our website as well at batonrougegallery.org/current. Every single piece that's up in the gallery you can see online and preview. And there's a virtual tour. Thank you to Jay Schwartzoff, our volunteer who handles that virtual tour for us, as well as Heather McClellan for all of our still images. Next up, our last artist for the night, we'll hear from Ha-Yun Nam about her show Future Unknown. bring her into the feed here momentarily.
Hello.
There she is. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank
Good.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, take it away. This work is incredible, and I think there's probably plenty for you to explain for us to enjoy this work and add some context to it. So I'll turn things over to you and tell me if you want to start with the works that are on the wall or the bench in the middle of the room.
Well, we can just start from here.
Okay.
But first, thank you for inviting me. This is my second show already. And Jason, Kelsey, and Jonathan, everybody, really appreciate to make this happen at this time. I have to work this show. So this bench, you can actually sit on, waveform, and another drawings and the video on the wall that is contingent dreams. There are two works. So first one, this bench, it is pretty heavy and pretty big. And this is a sculpture. I started from the poem Diamonds in Dystopia by Vincent Cellucci. And I programmed the waveform from his spoken voice, saying 3 lines, part of his poem, irrigating minds, the one prototype for change, more giving systems. So I took 3 lines and I programmed and I made this bench. And it is digitally fabricated using a CNC router and plasma cutter. So each wood digitally cut by CNC router by machine, and the middle part, the metal, is cut by plasma cutter. Yeah.
And you said you had 3 lines, and I think you should be able to see it on your screen, but you certainly realize it when you're looking at it in person. This bench is actually 3 parts.
Yeah.
Set side by side, correct?
Yes. So at the beginning, I was thinking just one really long sculpture, but then I realized it will be really difficult to move and even handle. So each individual piece, I needed more than 2 people to help me. Yeah. So the weight and structure, I decided to cut 3 different parts.
Can you talk about your working with Vincent? He's been a friend of the galleries for a number of years, has had readings at the gallery. Can you talk about maybe why you chose his poetry or why you chose that poem in particular?
Yeah, because his poem is so beautiful, and he already had several performances, and it was a different interactive work and with other collaborator. So I saw his performance and collaboration, and I really liked a few lines, and I wanted to use his work. And it is about technology. It is about the river. So I liked his story. And not only Vincent, but also I have other collaborator to make this happen. It took almost 2 years. So we started before COVID, but since the COVID started last year, everything, even shop was canceled. So I delayed the plan, but I have Brandon Hammond, Jack, and Derek Ostrinko, Daniel Davis, Nasrin, Iravani, Matthew Cranny. I have a lot of students. I have a lot of colleagues helped this project. So I wanted to mention like a special thanks to them as well.
Certainly. And what is the future for this bench? Will it have a permanent home after this exhibition?
So temporarily, we locate this bench in. I really appreciate Atkins, my Dean. So we temporarily placed this bench in our lobby of design building, the first floor. And we plan to make interactive bench. So when people sit down on the bench, they can record their stories and we can play their sound. And we plan to make more interactive bench eventually.
Wonderful.
Mhm. And not only cutting individual layer, but also assembling bench took really long time. So you can see one layer by one layer, we have little wood in between, and we have lots of metal rod to make that together. So it was really heavy labor work.
Yeah, I think that comes across. How about the other works? Can you talk about the pieces that we find on the walls?
Yeah. So that's Contingent Dreams, and both I completed that work this year. And this is more progress. But I started. So first, I am really interested in machines and robots. So previously, I made my own artistic robots. And this time, I used industrial robots, but I wanted to simply ask questions about fundamental relationships with machines, because I feel like machines are everywhere. And since we have a COVID, people are quite isolated. So machines try to make us reconnect together. So it seems like it's more important. But at the same time, I was thinking when we see movies and novels or other popular culture, you can easily find like sinister androids or AIs. So I just wanted to ask questions to others, like, what do you think about our relationship with the robots? Are they tool, or are we master? Like, are they servant, or are we collaborator, or friends, or even enemies? So in this work, I used universal robot, which is huge industrial robotic arm. So when you see the video in the TV, that is some process, how I drew this, how I made these drawings together. So programmed and robotic arm, we have brush on top, the connection, and then gripper. So the robots complete the drawings. At the same time, I'm actually helping robots a lot, sometimes inside the scene, sometimes outside the scenes. So I didn't want to give a definite answer for that question. The reason why also I titled my work Future Unknown, because we don't know the relationship yet, I feel like. Is my robot my collaborator, or is my robot is simply a tool to complete the work? So on the wall, you can see a few progress paintings. We made it together.
It's kind of an interesting layer to add to at least tonight's presentation, because here we are using robots to try and connect you with the audience.
Right,
you know, whereas we wouldn't normally have done that.
Yeah. And also, just briefly, I just keep thinking like our relationship, and back to the title, Future Unknown. I'm just curious, like our technology, how they will be developing in 10 years and 20 years. And we don't know like what is possible, what is impossible, or how our society regulates that technology or improve technology. Even like what kind of technology will be possible and will evolve. So yeah, so that's the reason I ask a question. It is still unknown. Yeah.
We had a question pop up. Are
Oh,
you
I didn't
controlling
see
the
it, sorry.
arm? That's okay. Are you controlling the arm, or is the arm
Oh,
the actions of the arm of programming?
yeah, so I programmed it and the robotic arm execute that program. But at the same time, since this is a painting, if I want to change a little bit, if I want to change like a little bit thicker, thinner, more water, more ink, I am doing more helping robot in the scene as a performance. But it is programmed. I can explain briefly about the program behind. I used the noise pattern. So this is from just random noise pattern, and it's actually from same noise pattern. And then I change parameters and numbers, and you'll see different series of painting.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to walk us through all of this. Is there anything else you want people to know before they come and see the works in person?
Yeah, I really hope people to see this in person if they have a chance. But also, if we have any chance, I want to show the real performance with the robot. I can bring the robot temporarily. If we set up some schedule, I can show the real collaboration with the robots. We'll be happy to do it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody stay tuned, because we are absolutely going to see about setting that up for you, because it looks like, based on what we're seeing in the gallery here tonight, and even on that video presentation that is part of the show, it looks like there's plenty more to learn about this and gain some understanding of the work that really Hayan and the robot are working together on. So thank you so much for taking the time to walk us through the show. Again, everybody, the show is up through the 26th. Please come by and see us any day but Monday from noon to 6. Always free and open to the public. Thanks so much, Hayan.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that is our exhibition this month. We are thrilled to have all 4 of these artists have their work on display. Again, this is the debut exhibition for Anita Cook and Anita Cook, as well as some great work from Hayan Nam and Thomas Neff as well. So please come by and join us all this month through the 26th. And if you want to get a taste of what awaits you, you can go to BatonRougeGallery.org/current, see every single piece. And also you can test out some of these pieces. If you're interested in purchasing one, many of the pieces are able to be employed or placed actually digitally in your home with the use of a smartphone. You can actually use augmented reality to get a sense of what those pieces might look like in your living room, in your kitchen or bedroom. And it's a great way for you to get a sense of things before making a commitment to own one of these pieces and bring them into your home. So thank you again for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in the gallery. If you have any questions about the exhibition or about the gallery in general, feel free to let us know. Feel free to reach out. You can reach us at 225-383-1470, or feel free to drop a comment, and we will get back with you as soon as we can. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you, and hopefully we'll be back with you soon at first Wednesday opening reception, and we can invite you back to the gallery. But in the meantime, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night.